Good day everyone! This video is a compilation of all the lessons in general mathematics for the second quarter covering week 1 up to week 8.
Good day everyone! In this video, we will discuss about simple interest. These are the definitions that we need to remember in discussing simple interest. Interest, or represented by I, is the payment for the use of borrowed money or the amount earned on invested money. The principal, or represented by letter P, is the amount being borrowed or invested. Rate, represented by R, is a fractional part of the principal that is paid on loan or investment. Time, represented by T, is the number of years for which the money is being borrowed or invested. And F, for the future value, is the sum of the principal and the interest earned within the time. In this video, we will be discussing on how to solve for the interest, principal, rate, time, and future value. Solving for interest, we will be using the formula I equals P times R times T, wherein P is the principal, R is the rate, and T is the time in years. Let us consider this example. Suppose that the principal is 5,200, the rate is 6%, and the time is 2 years. We need to find the value of I, or the interest. Recall that our formula for I is equal to P times R times T, meaning we need to multiply the principal, the rate, and the time. Since we were given P equals 5,200, R equals 6%, and T equals 2 years, then we simply need to multiply 5,200 times 0.06 times 2. Remember that always write the rate in decimal form. Therefore, in converting percent to decimal, we need to divide the given percent by 100. Simplifying this, 5,200 times 0.06 times 2 will give us 624. Therefore, the interest, when we have the principal 5,200, rate 6%, and 2 years for time, then the interest will be equal to 624. Let us have another example. For this one, suppose that our principal is equal to 16,000, the rate is equal to 5%, and the time is equal to 18 months. Then, to solve for the interest, again, we simply need to multiply the principal, the rate, and the time. Remember that we need to convert the 5% into decimal, so it will become 0.05. And the time being given in months, we need to convert it into years. So since we have 18 months here, converting it to years, it will be equal to 1.5. Therefore, the interest will be equal to 16,000 times 0.05 times 1.5. Therefore, the interest earned will be equal to 1,200. For solving for the future value, or F, we will be using two formulas. For the first formula, we have the F equals P plus I. For the second formula, we have F is equal to P times the sum of 1 and RT, wherein P is the principal, I is the interest, R is the rate, and T is the time in years. Therefore, if you are looking for the future value and you were given the principal and the interest, then you will be using the formula number 1. Moreover, if you are given the principal, the rate, and the time, then you will be using the formula number 2 in solving for the future value. Let us consider this example. Solve for the future value when the principal is equal to 10,000 and the interest is equal to 5,000. So since you were given the principal and the interest, then we will be using the first formula wherein f is equal to the principal plus the interest. Therefore, substituting our given to the given formula, we're gonna have 10,000 plus 5,000. And simplifying this, then the future value will be equal to 15,000. On the other hand, suppose you were given the principal, the rate, and the time. In solving for the future value, then we will be using the second formula, which is F equals P times 1 plus RT. Substituting these values to our formula, then we will have 7,000 times 1 plus 0.04 times 8. Evaluate first the product of 0.04 and 8, giving us with 0.32. Next, add 1 and 0.32, so you're gonna have 7,000 times 1.32. Then next is multiply 7,000 and 1.32. Therefore, the future value will be equal to 9,240. For the next one, solving for the principal or the P, we also have here two formulas. P is equal to I divided by RT. And the other one is P equals F minus I, wherein F is the future value, I is the interest, R is the rate, and T is the time. Therefore, if you were given the interest, the rate, and the time, and you will be solving for the principal, then use the first formula. But if you were given the future value and the interest, and you want to solve for the principal, then use the second formula. For example, let us solve for the principal when the future value is 28,300 and the interest is 2,345. Since you were given the future value and the interest, then the principal is equal to F minus I. Substituting the given on our formula, then we gonna have 28,300 minus 2,345. When you subtract the two numbers, then the principal will be equal to 25,955. Let us now try to solve for the principal when we were given the interest, the rate, and the time. Suppose the interest is equal to 600, the rate is equal to 6%, and the time is equal to 2 years, then the principal will be equal to the interest divided by the product of the rate and the time. Substituting the given on our formula, we're gonna have 600 divided by 0.06 times 2. Simplify first the denominator by multiplying 0.06 times 2. We will have 600 divided by 0.12. Simplifying now, 600 divided by 0.12, we will have 5,000. Therefore, the principal is equal to 5,000. In solving for the time, we will have the formula T equals I divided by the product of P and R, wherein I is the interest, P is the principal, and R is the rate. For example, say the interest is equal to 25,000, the principal is equal to 50,000, and the rate is equal to 2%. Find the value of T. Using the formula T, equals I divided by P times R, then we will have 25,000 divided by 50,000 times 0.02. In this case, simplify first the denominator by multiplying 50,000 and 0.02. We will have 25,000 over 1,000. Then divide 25,000 by 1,000, then time or the final answer will be equal to 25 years. Let us try another one. Suppose that the future value is equal to 15,330 and the principal is equal to 11,000 and the rate is equal to 8.25%. Let us try to find the value of t. Since t is equal to I divided by p times r, notice from the given that we do not have the value of I. However, from the previous example, recall that I, or the interest, is actually equal to f minus p. Therefore, solving first for the value of I, we gonna have 15,330 minus 11,000. Therefore, the interest is equal to 4,330. We can now use the value of I, which is 4,330, in solving for the value of t. So therefore, t is equal to 4,330 divided by 11,000 times 0.0825. Again, simplify first the denominator. We will have 4,330 divided by 907.5. Divide the two numbers. Finally, the value of t is equal to 4.77 years. This time, let us solve for the rate. To solve for the rate, R is equal to I divided by P times T, wherein I is equal to the interest, P is equal to the principal, and T is equal to time in years. Therefore, to solve for the value of R, we need the interest, the principal, and the time in years. Let us consider this example. Suppose that the interest is equal to 45,000, the principal is equal to 90,000, and the time is equal to 10 years. Let us solve for the value of R. R is equal to I divided by P times T. Substituting our values to the formula, then we will have 45,000 divided by 90,000 times 10. Simplifying the denominator, 90,000 times 10, it will give us 900,000. Then finally, dividing 45,000 by 900,000, then the rate is equal to 0.05. When you want to convert it into percent, then simply multiply the resulting number by 100. So in percent, 0.05 is equal to 5%. Let us try this one. The future value is 2,150, the principal is 2,000, and the time is equal to 3 years. R is equal to I divided by P times T. However, notice from the given that we do not have the interest, but we have the future value and the principal. So remember that I is equal to F minus P. So therefore, solving for the interest, we need to subtract 2,150 and 2,000. Therefore, I is equal to 150. Now, we can use the value of I, which is 150 in solving for the rate. R, which is equal to I divided by P times T, will be equal to 150 divided by 2,000 times 3. Simplifying the denominator, 2,000 times 3 will give us 6,000. And then, finally, divide 150 by 6,000, it will give us 0.025. Or in percent, it is equal to 2.5%. I hope that you have understood the lesson. For the next video, we will discuss about problem solving involving simple interest. Thank you so much for listening and see you on our next discussion. Good day everyone! In this video, we will discuss about problem solving involving simple interest. In the previous video, we have discussed on how to solve for the interest, future value, principal, time, and rate. In solving for the interest, I is equal to P times R times T. For the future value, we have here two formulas. F is equal to P plus I and F is equal to P times 1 plus RT. For the principal, we also have two formulas. P equals I divided by RT and P equals F minus I. For the time, we have T equals I divided by PR, and for the rate, we have R equals I divided by P times T. We will be now using these formulas in solving some real-world problems involving simple interest. Let us consider this first example. How much interest will Zaya earn in her investment of 10,500 pesos at 5% simple interest for 4 years? What we need to do first is to list down all the given. From the problem, it was given that Zaya will invest 10,500 pesos. Therefore, P is equal to 10,500. Moreover, it was stated that the investment will earn a 5% simple interest after 4 years. Therefore, R is equal to 5% or in decimal, 0.05. On the other hand, time is equal to 4 years. The question is how much interest will Zaya earn from this investment? Therefore, we will be looking for the value of I. Remember that I is equal to P times R times T. Therefore, substituting the values or the given on the formula, then we will have 10,500 times 0.05 times 4 will give us 2,100. Therefore, Zaya will earn 2,100 pesos from the investment. Let us go to the next example. Zach borrowed 50,000 pesos from a lending company that charges 10% interest with an agreement to pay in full at the end of the term. If he paid 67,500 pesos at the end of the term, for how long did he borrow the money? Looking at the question, for how long did he borrow for the money? it means that we need to look for the value of t. For that case, what we need to do first is to list down all the given from the problem. Since Zach borrowed 50,000 pesos, then it means that the value of P or the principal is 50,000. The interest rate is equal to 10%. Therefore, R is equal to 10% or in decimal, it is equal to 0.10. Moreover, he paid a total of 67,500 at the end of the term. Therefore, 67,500 is the future value. Since we were asked for the time, recall that T is equal to I divided by P times R. However, from this formula, notice that we need the value of the interest. But looking at the given, we don't have the value of I here. Therefore, we need to solve first for the value of I. Since we were given the principal and the future value, then we can solve for the interest by subtracting F and P. So therefore, we will have 67,500 minus 50,000 will give us 17,500. Therefore, the interest being paid by Zach from the borrowed money is equal to 17,500. We can now use the value of I to solve for the value of T. Substituting now the values of I, P, and R to this formula, we gonna have T equals 17,500 divided by 50,000 times 0.10. Simplify first the denominator. 50,000 times 0.10 will give us 5,000. Then, dividing 17,500 and 5,000, it will give us 3.5. Therefore, Zach borrowed the money for 3.5 years. Let us now try to look at this example. Lynn needs 70,000 pesos for her business expansion. She is willing to pay the interest of 9,625 pesos if she borrows the said amount from the bank. If she plans to pay within 30 months, what must be the interest rate of her loan? Looking at the question, we were asked for the interest rate. So again, we need to write down first the given. Since Lynn needs 70,000 pesos for her business expansion, it means that the principal is equal to 70,000. Moreover, it was stated in the problem that she is willing to pay the interest of 9,625 pesos. Therefore, I is equal to 9,625 pesos. Finally, she plans to pay within 30 months. Therefore, the time is equal to 30 months. However, remember that we need to write the time in terms of years. Therefore, converting 30 months in years, it will be equal to 2.5 years. In solving for the rate, remember that the formula for R is equal to I divided by P times T. Since we have on our given P, I, and T, we simply need to substitute these values on our formula. So we gonna have 9,625 divided by 70,000 times 2.5. Simplifying first the denominator, we will have 9,625 all over 175,000. Dividing 9,625 by 175,000, we will have 0.055 or in percent that is equal to 5.5%. Therefore, the interest rate needed must be 5.5%. For our next example, Veron wishes to have 22,700 pesos after 2 years and 3 months for her dream vacation. How much should she invest in her account today if the interest rate is 6%? Looking at the question, we were asked of how much should Veron be investing in her account. Therefore, we need to find for the value of the principal. Since we are looking for the value of the principal, then we need to do first is to list down all the given. Since Veron wishes to have 22,700 pesos, then it means that is the value of F. So therefore, F equals 22,700. The time is given to be 2 years and 3 months. So here, we need to convert 3 months into years. So therefore, T is equal to 2.25 because 3 months is equivalent to 0.25 year. Moreover, the interest rate is given to be 6%, therefore R is equal to 6% or in decimal, that is equal to 0.06. Looking at your given, we have the F, the T, and the R. But remember that we are looking for the value of P. Because of this, we can actually use the formula F equals P times 1 plus RT. But since we are looking for the value of P, dividing both sides by 1 plus RT, then it means that P is equal to F divided by 1 plus RT. So what we need to do now is to substitute these values to our formula. So we will have 22,700 divided by 1 plus 0.06 times 2.25. What we need to do first is to multiply 0.06 and 2.25. So it will be equal to 22,700 divided by 1 plus 0.135. Next, add these two numbers at the denominator. Then we will have 22,700 divided by 1.135. Finally, divide 22,700 by 1.135, then we will have 20,000. Therefore, Veron should invest 20,000 on her account so that she will have 22,700 pesos after 2 years and 3 months. For our last example, to renovate his house, Dan borrowed 120,000 pesos in the bank that charges 2 1/4% interest rate. If he agreed to pay at the end of 6 months, how much should Dan pay the bank? In the question, how much should Dan pay in the bank, it means that we are looking for the future value. Therefore, to determine the value of F, we need to write first our given. Dan borrowed 120,000 pesos. Therefore, P equals 120,000. The bank charges 2 and 1/4% interest rate. Therefore, the interest rate or R is equal to 2.25%, or in decimal, that is equal to 0.0225. The time is being given in 6 months. But since we need to write the time in terms of years, then we need to convert 6 months in years, which is equivalent to 0.5 year. So since we have P, R, and T, to solve for the value of F, we will be using the formula P times 1 plus RT. Substituting our values to the given formula, then we gonna have 120,000 times 1 plus 0.0225 times 0.5. What we need to do first is to multiply 0.0225 times 0.5. So we gonna have 120,000 times 1 plus 0.01125. Then add 1 and 0.01125, we will have 120,000 times 1.01125. Finally, multiply 120,000 times 1.01125, we will have 121,350. Therefore, Dan should pay 121,350 pesos for his borrowed money. I hope that you have understood the lesson. For the next video, we will discuss about compound interest. Thank you so much for listening and see you on our next discussion. Good day everyone! In this video, we will discuss about compound interest. These are the important definitions and terminologies that we need to remember for the discussion of this lesson. Compound interest is represented by letter I is an interest from the periodic addition of simple interest to the principal amount, or simply the difference between the compound amount and the principal. Compound amount, represented by F, is an accumulated amount obtained by adding the principal and the compound interest. Conversion period, represented by M, is the number of times in a year the interest will be compounded. The following are the common conversion periods in a year. If it is annually, then M is equal to 1, meaning the interest is being compounded once a year. Semi-annually, we have M equals 2, meaning the interest is being compounded twice a year. Quarterly, M equals 4. It means that the interest is being compounded every 3 months or 4 times a year. Monthly, M equals 12, meaning the interest is being compounded 12 times a year. Moreover, the total number of conversion periods represented by N, wherein N is equal to M times T, where T is the number of years. Periodic rate, represented by I, the interest rate per conversion period. This is given by I equals R divided by M, where R is the annual interest rate. Present value, which is represented by P, is the principal that will accumulate to future value if there is an interest at periodic rate for conversion periods. Let us discuss on how to solve for the compounded amount or future value. Sometimes, the future value is also called as maturity value. The future value, maturity value, or the compounded amount is represented by F, wherein we can solve it by the formula P quantity 1 plus I raised to M divided by M raised to MT, where F is the maturity or the future value, P is the principal, I raised to M is the annual rate, M is the frequency of conversion, and T is the term or time in years. Sometimes, I raised to M can be represented by letter R. Let us take this example. Find the maturity value and interest if 10,000 pesos is deposited in a bank at 2% compounded quarterly for 5 years. The first thing that we need to do is to write down our given. From the problem, we have P is equal to 10,000 because 10,000 is the amount being deposited. Moreover, 2% is our I raised to M, meaning this is our annual interest. Remember that the interest rate in percent should be written in decimal form. So, 2% is equal to 0.02. Moreover, since we have here in the problem compounded quarterly, it follows that our M is equal to 4, meaning that the interest is being compounded every 3 months or 4 times a year. Then finally, T is equal to 5 years. From the problem, what we need to find is the maturity value and the interest. Therefore, we need to find the value of F and the value of I, wherein F is the maturity value and I is the interest. From the previous slide, note that the maturity value can be solved using the formula F equals P quantity 1 plus I raised to M divided by M raised to MT, wherein P is the principal, I raised to M is the annual rate, M is the frequency of conversion period, and T is time. Since we have all these variables in the given, then what we need to do is simply substitute these values in this formula. So we're gonna have 10,000 times 1 plus 0.02 divided by 4 raised to 4 times 5. From here, what we need to solve first is this one and this one. So therefore, we're gonna have 10,000 times 1 plus 0.02 divided by 4 using your calculators is equal to 0.005. Moreover, 4 times 5 is equal to 20. Next, we need to add 1 and 0.005. So it will give us 10,000 times 1.005 raised to 20. From here, you can easily solve this one using your calculators. So what you need to do is to multiply 10,000 times 1.005 raised to 20. So finally, our answer will be equal to 11,048.96. Since the maturity value is equal to 11,048.96, then we can solve now for the interest. Remember, from our previous discussion, the interest is equal to the future value minus the present value. So therefore, to solve for I, we need to subtract 11,048.96 and 10,000. Finally, we will be having the answer 1,048.96. Therefore, the accumulated interest is equal to 1,048.96. In solving for the present value or the principal, we will be using the formula f divided by 1 plus I raised to m over m raised to mt, wherein f is the future or the maturity value, p is the principal, im is the annual rate, m is the frequency of conversion, and t is the term or time in years. Let us take this example. Find the present value of 50,000 due in 4 years if money is invested at 12% compounded semi-annually. Just like what we did on the first example, we need to write down first our given. Since we are looking for the present value of 50,000, then it follows that 50,000 is the future value. Therefore, F is equal to 50,000. Moreover, since it was stated that it was due in 4 years, it follows that T is equal to 4. Next, it was invested at 12%, compounded semi-annually. So since we have here semi-annually, then it means that M is equal to 2. And 12% is the annual rate. Therefore, IM is equal to 12%, or in decimal, we have 0.12. Going back to the problem, we were asked to solve for the present value. Hence, we need to find the value of P. In finding the value of P, we can use the formula P equals F divided by 1 plus IM divided by M raised to MT. What we need to do is to substitute the values to our formula. Hence, we're gonna have 50,000 divided by 1 plus 0.12 divided by 2 raised to 2 times 4. From here, what we need to solve first is this one. So we need to divide 0.12 by 2 and multiply 2 and 4. So we're gonna have 50,000 all over 1 plus 0.06 raised to 8. Next, let us add 1 and 0.06, giving us with 50,000 divided by 1.06 raised to 8. From here, you can actually key in this on your calculators and it will result to the value 31,370.62. Therefore, the money or the amount being invested is equal to 31,370.62. This time, let us solve for the annual rate. The annual rate represented by IM is equal to M times the empty root of F divided by P minus 1, wherein F is the maturity or the future value, P is the principal or the present value, IM is the annual rate, M is the frequency of conversion, and T is the term or time in years. Let us take a look at this example. At what interest rate compounded semi-annually will 10,000 pesos accumulate to 15,000 pesos in 10 years? So from the problem, it is very clear that what we need to solve is the interest rate or the IM. So first thing to do is to list down all the given. Since it was stated that the interest rate is compounded semi-annually, then it follows that M is equal to 2. The amount being invested is equal to 10,000. Therefore, P is equal to 10,000. The accumulated amount is equal to 15,000. Therefore, F is equal to 15,000. And it was invested for 10 years. Therefore, T is equal to 10. Again, what we need to find in this problem is IM. To solve for the interest rate, then we can use the formula IM equals M times empty root of F divided by P minus 1. Next, what we need to do is to substitute the given on our formula. So we will have 2 times 2 times 10, 15,000 divided by 10,000 minus 1. Note of this one. This expression here can actually be written as F divided by P raised to 1 over MT. Therefore, this one can be written as 15,000 divided by 10,000 raised to 1 over 2 times 10. Hence, from here, we can actually divide first 15,000 by 10,000, then multiply 2 and 10. So we gonna have 2 times 20th root of 1.5 minus 1. So from here, we can write this expression as 2 times 1.5 raised to 1 over 20 minus 1. Using our calculators, then this expression will be equal to 0.041, or in percent form, it will be 4.1%. Therefore, the interest rate or the annual rate is equal to 4.1%. Finally, solving for time in years is given by the formula logarithm of F divided by P to the base 1 plus IM divided by M all over M, wherein F is the maturity or the future value, P is the principal, IM is the annual rate, M is the frequency of conversion, and T is the term or time in years. Let us try to solve this example. How long will it take 1,000 pesos to earn 300 if the interest is 12% compounded semi-annually? From the problem, we can see the following given. P is equal to 1,000 pesos. Moreover, F, since 1,000 will earn 300 pesos, then it follows that the future value is 1,300. The interest is 12%, meaning IM is equal to 12% or 0.12, and it is compounded semi-annually. Therefore, the frequency of conversion is equal to 2. So what we need to find here is T. To solve for the value of T, we can use the formula logarithm of F divided by P to the base 1 plus IM divided by M all over M. Sometimes, this formula is written as logarithm of F divided by P all over M times the logarithm of 1 plus IM all over M. Whatever formula you will be using, you should be arriving with the same answer. Suppose we will be using this formula here, the second formula, then by substitution, we will have logarithm of 1,300 divided by 1,000 all over 2 times logarithm of 1 plus 0.12 divided by 2. What we need to simplify first are 1,300 divided by 1,000 and 0.12 divided by 2. So we will have logarithm of 1.3 divided by 2 times the logarithm of 1 plus 0.06. Next, add 1 and 0.06. Then you will have logarithm of 1.3 divided by 2 times logarithm of 1.06. From here, you can actually key in this on your calculators and it will result to the answer 2.25 years. I hope that you have understood the lesson. For our next video, we will discuss about problem solving involving compound interest. Thank you so much for listening and see you on our next discussion. Good day everyone! In this video, we will discuss about problem solving involving compound interest. From the previous video, we have learned the formulas for the future value, present value, annual rate, and time. The formula for the future value is F equals P quantity 1 plus IM divided by M raised to MT. For the present value, we have F divided by 1 plus IM over M raised to MT. For the annual rate, we have IM equals M times MT root of F divided by P minus 1. And finally, for the time, we have logarithm of F divided by P to the base 1 plus IM divided by M all over M. This time, we will be using these formulas in solving some real-world problems that involves compound interest. For the first one, Max borrowed 11,300 pesos from Neri at 15% compounded monthly for 18 months. How much will Neri receive at the end of the term? Since we were asked of how much will Neri receive at the end of the term, it follows that what we need to look for is the value of F or the future value. To do that, we need to write down first all the given. Since Max borrowed 11,300, then it follows that P or the principal is equal to 11,300. Moreover, the interest rate is 15%, therefore IM is equal to 15%, or in decimal, it is equal to 0.15. The frequency of conversion is compounded monthly, so therefore it will be equal to 12. The time, which is 18 months, will be equal to 1.5 years because remember that the time or the term should always be written in terms of years. Moreover, to solve for the future value, we will be using the formula F equals P quantity 1 plus IM divided by M raised to MT. Since we have all here the given, what we need to do is to substitute these given to our formula. So we will have F equals 11,300 times 1 plus 0.15 divided by 12 raised to 12 times 1.5. What we need to solve first here are 0.15 divided by 12 and 12 times 1.5. So it will give us 11,300 times 1 plus 0.0125 raised to 18. Next, add 1 and 0.0125, giving us with 11,300 times 1.0125 raised to 18. From here, You can key in these on your calculators and it will give you an answer 14,131.52. Therefore, Neri will receive 14,131.52 pesos from Max at the end of the term. Let us have another example. Oscar received an amount of 33,000 pesos from his investment after 45 months. If money is invested at 5.5% compounded semi-annually, how much was invested? Since we were asked of how much was invested, it means that we need to solve for the present value or the principal. But what we need to do first is to list down our given. Oscar received an amount of 33,000 pesos from his investment means that the future value or F is equal to 33,000. It was after 45 months, therefore the time or the term is equal to 45 months, but again, we need to write this in terms of years. So 45 months in terms of years is equivalent to 3.75. The money is invested at 5.5% means that IM is equal to 5.5% or 0.055. Since it was stated that the interest rate is compounded semi-annually, then the frequency of conversion is equal to 2. To solve for the present value, we can use the formula P equals F divided by 1 plus IM divided by M raised to MT. From here, we need to substitute the given to our formula. Hence, we will have 33,000 divided by 1 plus 0.055 divided by 2 raised to 2 times 3.75. Next, what we need to simplify first are 0.055 divided by 2 and 2 times 3.75. So it will give us 33,000 divided by 1 plus 0.0275 raised to 7.5. Next, add 1 and 0.0275, giving us with 33,000 all over 1.0275 raised to 7.5. From here, you can actually key in this on your calculators and it will give you an answer 26,924.66. Therefore, the invested amount is 26,924.66 pesos. Let us consider another example. In preparation for his son's educational tour 18 months from now, JM invested 21,000 pesos and wishes to have 35,000 pesos by that time. At what rate converted monthly should the money be invested? Since we were asked of what rate, it means that we need to solve for the annual rate. To do that, let us try to list down first our given. So, we have here 18 months from now. So, it means that T is equal to 18 months. But in terms of years, this is equal to 1.5 years. JM invested 21,000. So, it means that P is equal to 21,000 and wishes to have 31,000 at the end of 18 months. Therefore, F is equal to 35,000. The interest rate will be converted monthly. So therefore, the frequency of conversion will be equal to 12. To solve for the interest rate, we can use the formula IM equals M times empty root of F divided by P minus 1. From our previous video, I have mentioned that the formula for the interest rate IM can also be written in the form M times F divided by P raised to 1 over MT minus 1. So what we need to do next is to substitute these values in this formula. So we're gonna have 12 times 35,000 divided by 21,000 raised to 1 over 12 times 1.5, then minus 1. Simplify first 35,000 divided by 21,000 and 12 times 1.5. So it will give us 12 times 1.67 raised to 1 over 18 minus 1. From here, you can key in this directly to your calculators and it will give you an answer 0.3454, or in percent form, we have 34.54%. Therefore, the interest rate should be 34.54%. Another example, May invested 15,250 pesos in her account and increased to 28,650 pesos that accumulates 15.5% of interest compounded semi-annually. For how long does May invested her money? The question for how long does May invested her money means that we are after the number of years or the term. To do that or to solve for the time, then we need to list down our given. May invested 15,250, then it means that P is equal to 15,250. It was increased with accumulated interest to 28,650, then F is equal to 28,650. The interest rate is 15.5%. So we have here 15.5%, or in decimal, we have 0.155. It was stated that the interest was compounded semi-annually. Therefore, the conversion or the frequency of conversion, or M, is equal to 2. To solve for the time or for the number of years, we can use the formula T equals logarithm of F divided by P to the base 1 plus IM divided by M all over M. However, I have stated in the previous video that the formula for the time can also be written in the form logarithm of F divided by P all over M times the logarithm of 1 plus IM divided by M. From here, we can now substitute our given to the formula. Then we will have logarithm of 28,650 divided by 15,250 all over 2 times the logarithm of 1 plus 0.155 divided by 2. The first thing that we need to solve here are 28,650 divided by 15,250 and 0.155 divided by 2. So we will have logarithm of 1.88 all over 2 times logarithm of 1 plus 0.0775. The next, add 1 and 0.0775. That will give us logarithm of 1.88 divided by 2 times logarithm of 1.0775. From here, you may key in this directly to your calculators and it will give you an answer that is approximately equal to 4.22 years. Therefore, May invested her money for 4.22 years. I hope that you have understood the lesson. For our next video, we will discuss about annuity. Thank you so much for listening and see you on our next discussion. Good day everyone! In this video, we will be talking about the simple annuity, specifically finding the future value. Before we go on with the sample problems, let us define first the following terminologies that we need to understand. Annuity is a sequence of payments made at equal fixed intervals or periods of time. Payment interval is the time between successive payments. Simple annuity is an annuity where the payment interval is the same as the interest period. Term of an annuity, represented by T, is the time between the first payment interval and last payment interval. Regular or periodic payment, which is represented by R, is the amount of each payment. Amount or the future value of an annuity, represented by F, is the sum of future values of all the payments to be made during the entire term of the annuity. And finally, the present value of an annuity, which is represented by P, is the sum of present values of all the payments to be made during the entire term of the annuity. Since we have now defined the important terminologies to be used in this discussion, let me now present to you the formula in finding the future value of an annuity. The amount of an annuity immediate is given by F is equal to R sub S sub N, which is equal to the formula R times 1 plus J quantity raised to N minus 1 all over J, where R is the regular payment, J is the interest rate per period, and N is the number of payments. Let us try to use this formula in solving some of the problems involving annuity. For the first problem, suppose Mrs. Remoto would like to save 3,000 pesos at the end of each month for 6 months in a fund that gives 9% compounded monthly. How much is the amount or future value of her savings after 6 months? By illustration, we can actually represent the payments of Mrs. Remoto like this. Remember that the annuity follows the concept of compound interest. Therefore, for the first payment, notice that the value of the payment will become 3,000 quantity 1 plus 0.0075 raised to 5. The second payment will amount to 3,000 quantity 1 plus 0.0075 raised to 4. The third payment will amount to 3,000, quantity 1 plus 0.0075 raised to 3. The fourth payment will amount to 3,000, quantity 1 plus 0.0075 raised to 2. The fifth payment will amount to 3,000, quantity 1 plus 0.0075. And finally, the sixth payment will amount to 3,000. To determine its future value, we can simply add all these values here, giving us with 18,340.89. Therefore, the savings of Mrs. Remoto after 6 months of payment of 3,000 pesos with an interest of 9% compounded monthly will amount to 18,340.89. How about using the formula instead of illustrating or computing each payment manually? Remember that our formula for the future value of annuity is given by F is equal to R times 1 plus J raised to N minus 1 all over J, wherein R is the regular payment, J is the interest rate per period, and N is the number of payments. Next, let us now write down all the given based on our problem. The regular payment of Mrs. Remoto is amounting to 3,000 pesos. Therefore, R is equal to 3,000. N, which is the number of payments according to the problem, is 6 months. Therefore, N is equal to 6. J, which is the interest rate per period, is equal to 0.09 divided by 12 because according to the problem, the fund gives 9% compounded monthly. So since this is 9%, we have at the numerator 0.09, and since it is compounded monthly, at the denominator we have 12. This is equal to 0.0075. Since we now completed the given, we will substitute this on our formula. So we will have F is equal to 3,000 times 1 plus 0.0075 raised to 6 minus 1 all over 0.0075. Using our calculators, what we need to input to arrive to this answer is 1 plus 0.0075, then equal sign, raised to 6, then equal sign again, then minus 1, then equal sign, then divided by 0.0075, equal sign, times 3,000, then finally equal sign. Putting this on our calculators, we will have the final answer to be 18,340.89. Notice that we have arrived at the same answer just like on the illustration we have presented earlier. Let us try another example. In order to save for her high school graduation, Marie decided to save 200 pesos at the end of each month. If the bank pays 0.25% compounded monthly, how much will her money be at the end of 6 years? So once again, we will be using the formula F is equal to R times 1 plus J raised to N minus 1 all over J. Writing down our given, we will have R is equal to 200 since Marie decided to save 200 pesos at the end of each month. The number of payments is represented by N. Since Marie is saving 200 pesos at the end of each month and she was able to save for 6 years, then the number of payments would be 12 times 6, which is equal to 72. Next, the value of J. According to the problem, the bank pays 0.25% compounded monthly, so J will be equal to 0.0025 divided by 12, which is equal to 0.0002083. Since we now have the values of R, N, and J, we can now substitute them to our formula. So we're gonna have F is equal to 200 times 1 plus 0.0002083 raised to 72 minus 1 all over 0.0002083. To input this on our calculators, you need to key in the following: 1 plus 0.0002083, then equal sign, then raised to 72, then another equal sign, then minus 1, equal sign, then divided by 0.0002083, then equal sign, then times 200, then finally equal sign. When you do that, the calculator will show you the answer to be 14,507 pesos. Therefore, Marie will be able to save 14,507 pesos at the end of 6 years. I hope that you have understood the lesson. For the next video, we will be talking about simple annuity in finding the present value. Thank you so much for listening and see you on our next video. Good day everyone! In this video, we will discuss about simple annuity, specifically finding the present value. In the previous video, we have defined the following terminologies that are important in studying annuities. We have the annuity, the payment interval, the simple annuity, the term of an annuity which is represented by T, regular or periodic payment represented by R, amount or future value of an annuity represented by F, and the present value of an annuity which is represented by P. Moreover, in the last video, we have discussed on how to find the future value of an annuity. For this video, we will be discussing on how to find the present value of an ordinary annuity or an annuity immediate. To find the present value of an ordinary annuity, we will be using the formula P equals R sub n, which is equal to R times 1 minus quantity 1 plus J raised to negative n all over J, where R is the regular payment, J is the interest rate per period, and n is the number of payments. Let us consider to solve this problem using the formula presented earlier. Mr. Ribaya paid 200,000 pesos as down payment for a car. The remaining amount is to be settled by paying 16,200 pesos at the end of each month for 5 years. If interest is 10.5% compounded monthly, what is the cash price of his car? Note that the cash value or cash price is equal to the down payment, if there is any, plus the present value of the installment payments. Based on the problem, we have the following given. The value of R is equal to 16,200 since according to the problem, Mr. Ribaya pays 16,200 pesos at the end of each month. N, or the number of payments, is equal to 12 times 5, which is equal to 60. Because according to the problem, the payment of Mr. Ribaya is monthly within 5 years. Moreover, J is equal to 0.105 divided by 12. Because according to the problem, the interest is 10.5% compounded monthly. So this is equal to 0.00875. Now, to find the present value, we will be using the formula P is equal to R times 1 minus quantity 1 plus J raised to negative N all over J. Since we are now complete with our given, we can now substitute the values of R, N, and J on our formula, giving us with P is equal to 16,200 times 1 minus 1 plus 0.00875 raised to negative 60 all over 0.00875. To find the value of P using our calculators, we need to input the following: 1 plus 0.00875, then equal sign, raised to negative 60, then equal sign, times negative 1, then equal sign, plus 1, equal sign, then divided by 0.00875, equal sign, then times 16,200, then equal sign. When we do that, our calculator will show us the answer to be 753,702.20. However, this is not yet the cash price of the car because this is just the present value of the installment of Mr. Ribaya, which amounts to 16,200 pesos monthly. Remember that the cash price is equal to the down payment plus the present value. Therefore, the cash price is equal to 200,000 plus 753,702.20, which is equal to 953,702.20. Therefore, the cash price of the car is equal to 953,702.20 pesos. Let us have another example. The buyer of a lot pays 50,000 pesos cash and 10,000 pesos monthly for 10 years. If money is 8% compounded monthly, how much is the cash value of the lot? To solve for the cash value of the lot, remember that the cash value is equal to the down payment plus the present value. To solve for the present value, we need to determine first the given of the problem. Based on the problem, we have the following given. R, or the amount of the regular payment, is equal to 10,000. N, which is the number of payments, is equal to 12 times 10. Because the buyer pays 10,000 monthly for 10 years. So this is equal to 120. J, which is the interest rate per period, is equal to 0.08 divided by 12 since it was given that the money is 8% compounded monthly. So when we simplify this is equal to 0.0067. Remember that for us to be able to solve for the present value, we will be using the formula P is equal to R times 1 minus quantity 1 plus j raised to negative n all over j. Since we are now complete with our given, we will just need to substitute the values of r, n, and j on our formula. Hence, we will have P is equal to 10,000 times 1 minus quantity 1 plus 0.0067 raised to negative 120 all over 0.0067. To find its value using calculator, what we need to input on our calculator are the following: 1 plus 0.0067 equals sign raised to negative 120 equal sign times negative 1 equal sign plus 1 equal sign divided by 0.0067 equal sign times 10,000 then equal sign. Finally, the calculator will show us the value 822,780.77. However, this is just the present value, and we were asked for the cash value. The cash value is equal to the down payment plus the present value. Therefore, the cash price or the cash value is equal to 50,000 plus 822,780.77, which is equal to 872,780.77 pesos. Therefore, the cash value of the lot is 872,780.77. I hope that you have understood the lesson. For the next video, we will still be discussing about simple annuity, but about finding the regular payments. Thank you so much for listening, and see you on our next video. Good day everyone! In this video, we will discuss about simple annuity, specifically finding the regular payments. In the previous videos, we have defined the following terminologies used in this discussion. We have defined the annuity, the payment interval, the simple annuity, the term of an annuity represented by T, the regular or periodic payment represented by R, the amount or future value of an annuity represented by F, and the present value of an annuity represented by P. Moreover, in the previous videos, we have discussed on how to find the future value and the present value. For this video, we will be discussing on how to find the value of the regular payment. To find the value of the regular payment, we will be using the formula R equals P all over 1 minus quantity 1 plus j raised to negative n all over j, or R equals F divided by 1 plus j quantity raised to n minus 1 divided by j. The first formula will be used if the present value is given, and the second formula will be used if the future value is given. For the representations of the variables for the two formulas, we have R is the regular payment, P is the present value, F is the future value, J is the interest rate per period, and N is the number of payments. Let us try to solve this problem using the formula presented earlier. Paulo borrowed 100,000 pesos. He agrees to pay the principal plus interest by paying an equal amount of money each year for 3 years. What should be his annual payment if interest is 8% compounded annually? Based on the problem, we have the following given. Since Paulo borrowed 100,000 pesos, it means that P is equal to 100,000. The number of payments N is equal to 3 because the payment of Paulo will be annually for 3 years. Therefore, he will have 3 payments. Moreover, J, or the interest rate per period, is equal to 0.08 divided by 1, since the interest is 8% compounded annually. So this is equal to 0.08. Now, since we have the value of P, we will be using the formula for the regular payment to be R equals P all over 1 minus quantity 1 plus J raised to negative N divided by J. Looking at our given, you will notice that we are now complete with the values of the variables P, N, and J. Therefore, we can simply substitute these values on our formula. We will have R is equal to 100,000 all over 1 minus 1 plus 0.08 raised to negative 3 divided by 0.08. To determine its value using our calculators, what we need to input are the following. 1 plus 0.08 equals sign raised to negative 3 equals sign times negative 1 equals sign plus 1 equals sign divided by 0.08 equals sign x raised to negative 1 equals sign times 100,000 then equal sign. Finally, you will see that the calculator will show you the value 38,803.35. Therefore, Paulo should pay 38,803.35 pesos annually for 3 years to pay the money that he borrowed. I hope that you have understood the lesson. For the next video, we will be discussing about general annuity, specifically finding the future value. Thank you so much for listening and see you on our next video. Good day everyone! In this video, we will discuss about finding the future value of a general annuity. Before we proceed to some problems, let us define first the terminologies that we need to know to be able to understand the lesson. Annuity is a sequence of payments made at equal or fixed intervals or period of time. Payment interval is the time between successive payments. General annuity is an annuity where the payment interval is not the same as the interest period. Term of an annuity represented by T is the time between the first payment interval and the last payment interval. Regular or periodic payment represented by R is the amount of each payment. Amount or the future value of an annuity represented by F is the sum of future values of all the payments to be made during the entire term of the annuity. And finally, the present value of an annuity represented by P is the sum of present values of all the payments to be made during the entire term of the annuity. Moreover, I want you to remember the following. Note that the formulas for both the simple and general annuities are the same. However, the difference on their concepts is in simple annuity, the payment interval is the same as the interest compounding period. while in general annuity, they are not the same. Hence, to use the formula, computation of general annuity requires extra step. The given interest must be converted to an equivalent rate per payment interval. With this, to compute for the future value of an ordinary annuity, we will be using the formula F equals R sub S sub N is equal to R times 1 plus J quantity raised to N minus 1 all over J, where R is the regular payment, J is the interest rate per period, and N is the number of payments. Let us try to solve a problem involving general annuity. Mel started to deposit 1,000 pesos monthly in a fund that pays 6% compounded quarterly. How much will be in the fund after 15 years? Notice that the payment interval is not the same as the interest period. The payment interval is monthly, while the interest period is quarterly. Therefore, we need to convert the given interest to the equivalent rate per payment interval. To do that, we will be using the formula for the compound interest. And remember that it is represented by F. Therefore, F sub 1 should be equal to F sub 2. The formula for these are P quantity 1 plus I raised to M divided by M quantity raised to MT is equal to the same formula. But for the left side, remember that M will be equal to 12 since the payment interval is monthly. And on the right side, M will be equal to 4 since the interest period is quarterly. Since we have P on both sides of the equation, we may cancel it. And remember, since the interest is 6% compounded quarterly, then we will be substituting 0.06 on I raised to 4. So we will have 1 plus I raised to 12 all over 12, quantity raised to 12 equals 1 plus 0.06 divided by 4, quantity raised to 4. Next, let us simplify 1 plus 0.06 divided by 4, which will give us 1.015. Next, let us eliminate the exponent 12 here by raising both sides of the equation by 1 raised to 12. So we will have 1 plus I raised to 12 divided by 12 is equal to 1.015 raised to 4 raised to 1 over 12. Multiplying the two exponents here, it will give us 1/3. Then, let us subtract 1 on both sides of the equation. We gonna have I raised to 12 divided by 12 equals 1.05 raised to 1/3 minus 1. Using our calculators, we will see that the right side is actually equal to 0.004975. Hence, this will be the value of J that we will be using on our formula. Use the computed value of J on the formula for annuity and compute for the future value. By formula, we will have F equals R sub S sub N is equal to R times 1 plus J quantity raised to N minus 1 divided by J. Since we already have the value of J, looking at the problem, R or the regular payment will be equal to 1,000 and the total number of payments, which will be monthly within 15 years, will be 180. By substitution, we will have 1,000 times 1 plus 0.004975 raised to 180 minus 1 all over 0.004975. Using our calculators, to key in this expression, we need to input the following. 1 plus 0.004975 equal sign raised to 180 equal sign minus 1 equal sign divided by 0.004975 equal sign times 1,000 equal sign. It will give us the answer 290,076.28. Hence, Mel's fund will be 290,076.28 pesos after 15 years. Let us try another example. A teacher saves 5,000 pesos every 6 months in a bank that pays 0.25% compounded monthly. How much will be her savings after 10 years? In this problem, notice that the interest period and the payment interval are not the same. The payment interval is every 6 months. Therefore, the teacher pays twice annually, while the interest period is monthly. So before we proceed in using the formula, we need to convert first the interest into its equivalent rate per payment interval. To do that, let us again use the formula f sub 1 equals f sub 2. By substitution, on the left side will be the payment interval and on the right side will be the interest rate. For that case, the m on the left side will be equal to 2 and m on the right side will be equal to 12. Canceling the common factors p and t and substituting 0.25% on I raised to 12, we will have 1 plus I raised to 2 divided by 2 quantity raised to 2 is equal to 1 plus 0.0025 divided by 12 quantity raised to 12. Let us simplify this expression inside. It will give us 1.00020,833. To eliminate the exponent 2 here, we need to raise both sides of the equation by 1/2. So it will give us 1 plus I raised to 2 divided by 2 is equal to 1.00020,833 raised to 12 raised to 1/2. Multiplying the two exponents 12 times 1/2, it will give us raised to 6. Moreover, subtract 1 on both sides of the equation. Simplify next the right side of this equation. 1.00020,833 raised to 6 minus 1, it will give us the value 0.00125063. This will be the value of J that we will be using on our formula. With this, using the formula F equals R sub S sub N equals R times 1 plus J raised to N minus 1 all over J, by substitution, notice that our regular payment is equal to 5,000. And the total number of payments will be 2 times 10 years. So that would be 20. Hence, we will have 5,000 times 1 plus 0.00125063 quantity raised to 20 minus 1 all over 0.00125063. Using our calculators to compute the value of this expression, we need to input the following. 1 plus 0.00125063 equal sign, raised to 20 equal sign, minus 1 equal sign, divided by 0.00125063 equal sign, then times 5,000 equal sign. It will give us the answer 101,197.06. Therefore, the savings of the teacher will be 101,197.06 pesos after 10 years. I hope that you have understood the lesson. For our next video, we will be discussing about finding the present value of a general annuity. Thank you so much for listening and see you on our next video. Good day everyone! In this video, we will discuss about finding the present value of a general annuity. In the previous videos, we have defined the following terminologies that we need to understand and to know to be able to understand this lesson. We have defined the annuity, payment interval, general annuity, term of an annuity represented by T, regular or periodic payment represented by R, amount or future value of an annuity represented by F, and the present value of an annuity represented by P. Moreover, we have discussed that the formulas for both the simple and general annuities are the same. However, the difference on their concepts is in simple annuity, the payment interval is the same as the interest compounding period, while in general annuity, they are not the same. Therefore, to use the formula for the present value, computation of general annuity requires extra step, which is to convert the given interest to an equivalent rate per payment interval. Since the formulas for the simple annuity and general annuity are the same, we will also be using the formula below in finding the present value of an ordinary annuity, and that is P equals R sub n is equal to R times 1 minus 1 plus j quantity raised to negative n divided by j, where R is the regular payment, j is the interest rate per period, and n is the number of payments. Let us try to solve an example. Ken borrowed an amount of money from Kat. He agrees to pay the principal plus interest by paying 38,973.76 pesos each year for 3 years. How much money did he borrow if interest is 8% compounded quarterly? In here, notice that the payment interval of Ken is every year, while the interest rate per period is quarterly. Since they are not the same, we need an extra step for us to convert the interest into payment interval. So we will use the formula F sub 1 equals F sub 2. By substitution, the M on the left side of the equation will be equal to 1 because the payment is yearly, while on the right side, M will be equal to 4 since the interest is compounded quarterly. By canceling the common factors P and T and by substituting 8% to I raised to 4, we will have 1 plus I over 1 quantity raised to 1 is equal to 1 plus 0.08 divided by 4 raised to 4. By simplifying this expression inside the parentheses, it will give us 1.02. Next, we need to eliminate the exponent 1 here by raising both sides by 1. So we will have 1 plus I raised to 1 divided by 1 is equal to 1.02 raised to 4 raised to 1. Next, multiply the two exponents 4 and 1. It will give us raised to 4. Then subtract 1 on both sides of the equation. We will have 1.02 raised to 4 minus 1 on the right side. Simplifying the right side of the equation, we will have 0.082432. This value will now be used as the value of j. This time, we can now use the formula in finding the present value of the problem. And that is R times 1 minus 1 plus j quantity raised to negative n all over j. Based on the problem, the regular payment of Ken is amounting to 38,973.76. And since he pays every year for 3 years, it means that the total number of payments is 3. Substituting those values on our formula, we will have 38,973.76 times 1 minus 1 plus 0.082432 quantity raised to negative 3 divided by 0.082432. Using our calculators to find the value of this expression, we need to input the following. 1 plus 0.082432 equal sign raised to negative 3 equal sign times negative 1 equal sign plus 1 equal sign divided by 0.082432 equal sign times 38,973.76 equal sign. Finally, it will give us the value 100,000. Hence, Ken borrowed 100,000 pesos from Kat. Let us try another example. Mrs. Remoto would like to buy a television set payable monthly for 6 months, starting at the end of the month. How much is the cost of the TV set if her monthly payment is 3,000 and interest is 9% compounded semi-annually? Again, in this problem, the payment interval is not equal to the interest period. Mrs. Remoto is paying monthly while the interest period is semi-annually. With this, let us use the formula f sub 1 equals f sub 2. On the left side of our equation, we will be substituting 12 on our m representing monthly, and on the right side, we will be substituting 2 on our m representing semi-annually. By canceling the common factors and by substituting 9% on I raised to 2, we will have 1 plus I raised to 12 divided by 12 quantity raised to 12 equals 1 plus 0.09 divided by 2 quantity raised to 2. Simplify this expression inside the parentheses, you will have 1.045 raised to 2. On the left side of the equation, we will be raising both sides of the equation by 1 over 12. So we will have 1 plus I raised to 12 divided by 12 equals 1.045 raised to 2 raised to 1 over 12. Multiplying 2 times 1 over 12, it will give us 1 over 6. And subtracting 1 on both sides of the equation, we will have here minus 1. Simplify the right side of this equation, it will give us the value 0.00736,312. Now this value will be used as our J in the formula. Let us now use the formula for the present value. P equals R sub n equals R times 1 minus 1 plus J quantity raised to negative n all over J, where R is equal to the regular payment, which is 3,000, and n is the total number of payments, which is equal to 6. By substitution, we will have 3,000 times 1 minus 1 plus 0.00736,312 quantity raised to negative 6 divided by 0.00736,312. To find the value of this expression, let us use our calculators by keying in the following. 1 plus 0.00736,312 equal sign raised to negative 6 equal sign times negative 1 equal sign plus 1 equal sign divided by 0.00736,312 equal sign times 3,000 then equal sign. it will give us the value 17,545.08. Thus, the cost of the TV set is 17,545.08. I hope that you have understood the lesson. For our next discussion, we will be talking about stocks and bonds. Thank you so much for listening and see you on our next video.